Now that your entire body is set up, the only thing left to do now is lift the bar. But before you do that, what you're gonna do is intake a deep well of breath. This is to engage and embrace your core. This is to make sure that you have the strength to sustain you during the lift. You're gonna hold that same breath in during the whole descent, and you're not gonna let it out until you're halfway through lifting it back up. And you're gonna let it out slowly, you're not gonna let it out all at once. And this is to provide you that last little bit of strength you're gonna need to lock out the lift. What's good, YouTube? It's Tyron again with another video. If you're a beginner in the gym, you're in luck because today I'm gonna teach you guys how to bench press properly. And in my opinion, it's gonna be the best how to bench press video on YouTube, so. But the first step you're gonna do when it comes to setting up for your bench press is calming yourself. The thing I like to do to prep for my bench presses is take in a couple deep breaths, hold them in, and then blow them out ever so slightly. I take a deep breath in, I hold it for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then I slowly blow it out. I do that same breathing technique about 2 or 3 more times before I move on to the next step in my bench preparation. Next, I'm gonna lie flat on the bench and scoop myself all the way up to the head of the bench to where the barbell is split in my eyes and nose, so when I look up I can see directly over the back end of the barbell. Different gyms have different types of barbells. Some may use Olympic style bars, some may use others, but one thing that they all have in common is that they have knurling rings on them. Knurling rings are the small breaks in the surface that extend across the barbell, and if you pay any attention you'll see that there are 2 of them. That's basically to help set up when it comes to hand placement and where you're supposed to put your hands on the bar. They are made equally distanced from each other, so you can use that as a good rule of thumb where you're supposed to put your hands. The knurling rings on the bar that I was using for bench press in this video weren't exactly where they should have been for my liking, but nonetheless they are there to help anyone who needs to know where to place their hands when it comes to bench press. Which brings me to my next point. If you don't have any knurling rings, or if they're too wide for your liking, a good rule of thumb, place your hands at least shoulder width apart from each other. This distance is normal for standard bench pressing and it works for virtually any body type. You're not gonna want your grip anything closer than shoulder width because that's when you're gonna bring your triceps and your anterior delts or your front delts into play. So always maintain at least shoulder width. Once you get your hand placement right, you're gonna move to the lower half of your body. Contrary to what it looks like online, bench pressing is not all about just pushing the bar. You have to make sure that you're maintaining a solid foundation from the bottom of your feet to your hand grip on the bar. What you're gonna do is you're gonna plant your feet on the ground and you're gonna slide them back as far as you can without lifting them up. By doing this, you're adding tension to your quads or the front side of your thighs and thereby engaging that muscle. You're doing this to ensure proper leg drive, which is essential when it comes to bench press. And me personally, I like to keep my whole foot on the ground to provide that base for me, but I have seen people use the technique of using their toes and applying toe pressure to the ground to provide that base as well. It's all just based on your preference and what works for your particular body type, but at the end of the day, as long as you have that sturdy foundation, whatever works, it works. And now that we've tightened the lower half of our body, it's time to tighten the upper half of our body. To do this, we're gonna have to engage our lat muscles in our back. While still gripping the bar, you're gonna bring your shoulders back so your chest is sticking up off of the bench, and then you're gonna bring your shoulders down. It's just 2 simple motions. It's shoulders back and then shoulders down. This motion should give you a slight arching back, which is needed when it comes to bench press because it puts all the onus and emphasis on your chest muscles. But the one thing to look out for when it comes to arching your back is you never want to over exaggerate it because that can lead to back problems. So now that we've done that, we've properly engaged our lat muscles, which provide a secondary base of power. Okay, next you're gonna look at your grip again and make sure that it's iron tight. You're gonna wrap your 4 fingers around the bar nice and tight and you're gonna lock them in place with your thumb. You're gonna make sure that your wrists are nice and straight and in line with your forearms to provide that natural flow of power. And after all that is set up, you have your feet placement, you have your quads engaged, you have your lats engaged, you have your arching your back, your wrists are straight, your hands are locked. The last thing to do is to make sure that your elbows are not flared. What you're gonna do is you're gonna bring them in to about 45 degrees. That is the cherry on top when it comes to putting that emphasis and that onus on the chest muscles. Otherwise, you would really be working your front delts. Arms flared, shoulders and front delts. Arms tight, chest muscles. Now that your entire body is set up, the only thing left to do now is lift the bar. But before you do that, what you're gonna do is intake a deep well of breath. This is to engage and embrace your core. This is to make sure that you have the strength to sustain you during the lift. You're gonna hold that same breath in during the whole descent, and you're not gonna let it out until you're halfway through lifting it back up. And you're gonna let it out slowly, you're not gonna let it out all at once. And this is to provide you that last little bit of strength you're gonna need to lock out the lift. Yay! Yeah, all that there. But congratulations, you've completed your very first rep of bench press. Strength by itself isn't gonna sustain you during your bench press. You have to have solid technique. Solid technique in bench pressing isn't just doing the right thing just because I say it's the right thing. It's also to protect you as well. Because if you don't have proper technique, the best case scenario that you can hope for is you not receiving proper stimulus and exercise to your chest muscles or whatever muscle group that you may be working on. And worst case scenario, it can lead to injuries or even worse. So to reiterate, how strong you are isn't gonna be enough to get you through your workouts. It's gonna take sound form and sound technique to go along with your strength to make sure that you're able to push through any workout that you may have. And with that, I just showed you guys how to bench press properly. If you guys liked the video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and comment down below. Let me know what I can do for future videos. Turn on the post notifications so you can be notified whenever I post future content. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.